Okay, let's stick with the story for now because this is a big one. And for that, we turn to Nima Rahmani. He's the president and co-founder of the West Coast Trial Lawyers and is a former federal prosecutor. He's joining us from Los Angeles. Nima, thank you so much for making time for us.
Of course, Natasha, thanks for having me. It's a big day for the Menendez brothers.
Well, it absolutely is. I mean, one way or the other, a big decision is going to be announced likely this evening. Now, you were able to hear a bit of what my colleague Steve was reporting. What do you anticipate is going to come of Erik's plea for freedom?
I think Erik Menendez will be granted parole as early as this evening. Obviously, it's up to Governor Newsom to accept or reject that recommendation. But what really makes this case unique is the fact that all the living relatives of Jose and Kitty Menendez support release. I can tell you, I've been doing this for more than 20 years. I've never seen a case like this. And there's overwhelming public support as well. I've never seen so much support for two convicted murderers. Of course, that's due in large part to the Netflix series Monsters that raised awareness of the sexual abuse the brothers suffered.
What else is going on here? Why is there so much support? The family is coming out in favor of them. We've got major celebrities speaking in their favor. What is it about this case that has galvanized so many people to want to support two convicted murderers?
Well, you have, obviously, the Netflix series. And the reality is a docuseries can completely change the course of a legal case. We've seen it time and time again with Britney Spears, with R. Kelly. There's too many examples to name. Obviously, when you have Kim Kardashian and Rosie O'Donnell speaking out in support of your release, that certainly helps. And then you have this political layer on top of it. It's no secret that Governor Gavin Newsom has his eyes on the Oval Office in 2028. And regardless of whatever decision he makes, I can tell you the Menendez brothers case will be front and center in the next U.S. presidential election. So you have media, you have law, you have politics. It's really the perfect storm on top of victims of sex abuse that say, you know what? This is not an excuse or a license to kill, but someone who was sexually abused and rose up against their accuser should not spend the rest of their life in prison.
So with all that in mind, is your sense, if the parole board goes ahead with the recommendation for parole, do you think the governor will support that decision?
I do, Natasha, and this is why. And some of this is reading the tea leaves, but let me tell you why I think Governor Newsom will rubber stamp the parole board's recommendation to release. Just a guess. But one key sign is this. Before the brothers were even eligible for parole, before they'd even been resentenced, let's not forget they were serving a life term without the possibility of parole. But before the resentencing happened, Governor Gavin Newsom in California commissioned a comprehensive risk assessment. That's a study that determines whether the brothers pose an unreasonable risk to the public. And that assessment came back as low or low to moderate. But the fact that he commissioned that before the brothers were even eligible is certainly a sign. And then obviously we've heard the public statements and the podcasts talking about the Menendez brothers case, because at the end of the day, every prosecutor in this country is elected or appointed by someone who is, and the Menendez brothers case is political. It was a huge deal in the Los Angeles County District Attorney's race here in November, where the previous DA recommended resentencing. Obviously, we've heard from Nathan Hochman, who I used to work with, who is opposing resentencing. So there are a lot of strong views on the Menendez brothers case. Some people think they should spend the rest of their life in prison. Others think that the fair and just result is for them to be free men.
Nima, from the parole board's perspective, if we remove the politics from it or the emotional argument or how our culture has changed, what is it that the parole board needs to hear and understand in order to say, yes, we are going to grant parole?
So I've been getting updates from the pool reporter as well, and there's only one. It's the LA Times, who is actually present in this parole board hearing. And about an hour ago, they told me that they expect a decision in 2 to 3 hours. So maybe another hour or two, we will get that decision. But what they've been telling me is that the commissioners, they're focused on the crime itself. Obviously, a very heinous murder. They shot and killed their father, Jose, 6 times, reloaded, shot and killed their mother, Kitty, 10 times. So I do think the commissioners want some sort of acceptance of responsibility. And I think the challenge the Menendez brothers have is if they were honest and they said that we killed our parents because we wanted revenge and we were upset that they sexually abused us, that really cuts against the habeas petition they filed because they still have another avenue to potentially get a new trial. They've been arguing self-defense the whole time. So I think they're trying to walk a fine line. The commissioners also focused on some of their conduct or misconduct in prison. It wasn't serious and it certainly wasn't violent, but there was an allegation of cell phone violations, drugs, maybe even tax evasion. So Erik has answered a lot of those questions as well.
If these two men get parole, and it's granted also by the governor, then what happens to this case? What has it done to the legal system, if it has done anything, in the United States?
I think it's done a lot. Let's not forget that this was a capital case. Prosecutors wanted to put Erik and Lyle Menendez to death. The jury spared their life, and now they're going from potentially a life sentence to being out maybe in a matter of days or weeks. I may be having dinner in Los Angeles and I might see Erik and Lyle Menendez next to me. And I'm going to be honest with you, Natasha, I wouldn't be surprised if they're released and they have a reality TV show next year. I mean, that's the world that we live in. And it just shows that, politics and the media, they can really change and affect these types of legal cases.
Okay, we'll wait and see what happens. Nima Rahmani, very good to get your insights. Thank you so much.
Of course, Natasha. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.